Hey, this is Russ. I'm kind of excited about this video. I asked you on the last video to give me some questions that you had concerning e-bikes. And I'm not kidding, we probably got a good 50 or so questions. I don't think I can finish it all in one day. We may have to split this into a day or two or three. But I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. I can't guarantee I'm going to answer everyone's question, but I will try. Now, I will tell you in advance that the camera that I use to do this talking head right here usually times out after about 18 minutes. I think it does it just to protect the image sensor, and then I have to stop and start it back up. So if you see me stop it, you'll know why. It's because I have to restart the camera. It doesn't happen on the GoPro, just on this camera. And if you ever wonder why when you see in the backgrounds and then you see me talking, I don't look as sharp as the backgrounds, because I'm using a 1080p camera to record my head here, and then the GoPro footage behind me is a 4K footage. And so when I upload to YouTube, it is a 4K video, but of course you can't take a 1080p of me and turn it into 4K. It doesn't happen. Okay, so here's how I'm gonna do this question and answer stuff. I'm just gonna take it from the earliest videos and work my way up. Now, I have not read all of these questions, so I don't know really what's out there, and I purposely did my best not to look at the questions so that it's fresh, and when you hear it, that's my first initial impression of it, okay? And as I'm reading this, if I find it's something inappropriate, I'll just stop reading that at that point, right? So I have no idea what's coming up. So we'll work our way through. We'll see as how many we can get through in this one sitting, and then if we can't finish it all, we'll continue on another day. So, all right, so the first one we have is from JJ Ohio. It says, do you think those, I'm looking off camera too, by the way, do you think those big fat tires are intimidating on a bike path? I see those big fat tires going 20 miles per hour on a bike walking path, and I think that they shouldn't be allowed there. Okay, and then we had a response from somebody too, and the response doesn't seem too favorable there. So, all right, let me say this. Do I think is it intimidating? Yeah, I'm sure it probably is to some people. I mean, they see a big bike coming down the road, and all they're used to is road bikes that have maybe 1.25 inches of tire. Now you got a 4-inch fat tire coming down towards you. It could be intimidating. So yeah, I do feel it is a little intimidating for some people. Now, for some others, they're used to seeing e-bikes, and they understand that it's an e-bike coming towards them. Okay, it's not like a motorcycle coming at them. So as far as whether you think they shouldn't be allowed there, that's a personal thing, right? If you don't feel it should be, then that's fine. If you feel it's okay, then that's fine too. So for me, I think it should be fine because most of my tires are big fat tires. So if they eliminated it, yeah, I wouldn't be able to take the paths. Yeah. So do I think it's intimidating? Yes, I think it's intimidating. Will I continue to do it? Yes, I will continue to do it. All right. Then let's see. Another one we have a thing just says torque. It's not really a question, so I won't answer that. Edna Fortner. I'll kind of give you the names of the people who mentioned the questions here. I am 65 and want a step up to take my 20-pound Westie with me. Okay, she wants to take a dog with her. Want a safe e-bike with ability to help me with hills, and I don't take the dog. I can switch to pick up items at farmer's market, etc. Want exercise, but ability to have assistance when needed and on gravel or paved roads in the country. So I think is she asking for a recommendation? I think that's what she's asking for. Yeah, a 20-pound dog is kind of big, and I don't think I would put a 20-pound dog in like a front basket or something like that. I think what's best for that is probably one of those rear dog carriers. There's the pet carriers. You can attach, it's kind of like it's like pulling a cart almost, right? It attaches to the rear hub, I think, to the screw there, and then you drag it along. Essentially, it's got 2 wheels in the back. We've seen these type of things with kids in the back, right? Where people will bring their kids by just kind of having like a little attachment thing to their bike. I think that would be your best bet for a 20-pound dog. That's my feeling. And of course, if you don't put the dog in there, you can put groceries in there and drag that back. So I think that's your best option. As far as the type of bike, For something like that, I'd like a fat tire bike, personally. I don't think I would get a small tire commuter type bike for this. Maybe a 3 or 4 inch fat tire bike. So look for something that has the big fat wheels. I think you'll be happier with that, okay? All right, next one. Thank you for your question. Shelly B, why mirrors and not a rear view camera? Okay, you want to see rear view camera? Go to Rip1 Outdoors. Okay, he's one of our subscribers. He has a YouTube channel as well, and he uses a camera. Yeah, you can see how it works out. And I think he puts a video sometime on the bottom left corner. You can see his rear view. Now, why did I do mirrors instead of a camera? Okay, first off, mirrors in general are cheaper than the cameras. And secondly, I get the mirrors for free for certain things for the Magicycle bikes. Yeah, Russ is right, but Russ is a cheapie too, okay? I don't spend a lot of money on things if I can get things for free, right? And Magicycle is kind enough to give me mirrors for my Magicycle bike, so I use mirrors. Now, one of the main reasons I do use the mirrors instead of the cameras is the real estate space on the handlebar. A lot of times I got so many things on the handlebar, I don't have enough space to even add another item on there. So putting the rear view camera with a display screen would take additional space. So for me, it's easier to attach the mirror. And sometimes it's even difficult to put the mirror. I usually put a left hand side view mirror, as you know. And on some bikes, I have the right one on, but most often it's just the left. And because on the right side, you have, you got your twist throttle is in the way, the brake is in the way. Sometimes some people have even like the bell is in the way. There's less space on the right, so I usually use the left. And I also feel that I can see the cars better when they come from the side. Okay, like for instance, a rear camera is usually mounted directly behind you on the rack, the rear rack, and so it's going to show you a direct rear view. But if that car starts moving towards the side of you, you might not notice that. Versus if you have a side view mirror, I will definitely see that because I can see that car coming right next to me. Okay, so that's why I use mirrors instead of the camera. Okay. Thank you for your question. Rip1 Outdoors, we're just talking about him. He says, wouldn't you like to come down to South Mississippi and ride over Ridge Road with the brothers of the back roads? Yeah, I would one day. I wouldn't mind coming down to see it. Will I realistically do it? Probably not. But yeah, I like watching your channel and watching you and your brothers go riding. Yeah, he's got a couple of Magicycle bikes and I think a Velotrix bike. His brother has a yellow Velotrix, which is kind of cool. Like the color. And there's 2 Magicycle cruisers there. And I think he's looking at something for his daughter maybe too. So yeah, my recommendation for him is look at the Ocelot Pro for her. I think that would be a good bike to do. All right, thank you for your question, and thank you for your videos too. Jim Hoff, if I mispronounce your names, I'm sorry. All right, Jim Hoffacker. Okay. Hi, Russ. Your recommendations on GPS trackers. Ooh, okay. So I think he's talking about like the Apple AirTags. Okay. I think that's probably the most popular tracker, and people will hide this GPS type device, tracking device, on their bikes in case it gets stolen, and that way you can help recover your bike. Now, here's my feeling on that. You can probably find where your bike is, but if you do, don't go and get it. All right. I wouldn't want to confront someone who stole my bike. Yeah, I would tell the police about it, but I will tell you that sometimes in some police departments, they will not go after the bike even if you tell them where it is. Okay, they need more proof than some guy saying, hey, my tracker shows my bike has been moved over here, somebody stole it. Sometimes they won't do a thing, okay? And when that happens, people sometimes go out and they try going for the bike themselves. Now, don't do that, okay? That's dangerous, okay? So as far as recommendations, I'd probably say the Apple AirTag is probably the best one to do. It's not that expensive, quite frankly. I think you get like 3 for like $100 or something like that. You could do that. So yeah, that's what I would recommend if you decide to do it. But don't go after your bike on your own. Tell the police. Hopefully they will react. Okay. All right. Thank you for your question. Next one. New Haven, Connecticut. Okay, Russ, I bought a Huffy Oslo e-bike only pedal assist. I bought it at Kohl's for $255. Is it a good buy? Well, yeah. For $255, if it works for you, it's a good buy. It's a great buy at $255. Yeah, I don't think any of my bikes are. I don't think any of them were ever less than, say, $900, $900 to $1,000. But you have to remember, too, that usually these bikes that are more expensive, they're more powerful. There's more to it to that bike. You know, like you said, your bike only has a pedal assist. Our bikes have throttles, and, you know, there might be more speed. They're built a little bit stronger, maybe. So at $255, if it works well for you and you're happy with it, it's a great buy. All right. Keep riding, keep safe, and if you one day if you decide you want to get something better, you can always upgrade. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Yeah, but yeah, congrats. Next one, Russell Shoot. Great name. Russ is right? Okay, he's right too. How much for an e-bike? I just bought a new one for $500 or $600 if you count shipping, and I do. That is more than it would normally cost for battery and motor kits. Half price is markup? Let me answer that part. It could be. Yeah. I think a lot of products that are sold, I'm not just talking e-bikes, but just products in general. Yeah, retailers could make 40, 50% or even higher on their profits. If you don't make at least that, it's kind of hard to pay your rent. Yeah, I used to work in the stereo industry, the hi-fi stereo industry, and I think our markups from what we bought equipment for versus what's sold was anywhere from 30 to 40% on typical. And some products, like I think some speakers, we had 50% markup. So that's why sometimes you can see products that are discounted down to like, hey, 25% off. They're still making 25%, okay? But it's not truly 25% if you think about it. You've got rent and people to pay and all sorts of stuff. So, you know, selling that one product doesn't mean they made a lot of money. They may have just broken even, you know, because of all the high overhead and stuff. So anyways, he says he bought one for $500 or $600. And he says is half price is markup. The market is hot, and now I wonder about struggling to make payroll. The market looks as if it's saturated, but we have supply and other uncertainties. Even political conditions are looking grimmer in my I can't read that word. Nightmares. Okay. He says, I'm looking forward to my first ride. I've been looking into getting one for 2 years. Okay. Well, yeah, if the bike works for you, I think that's great. You know, people always ask me, you know, which bike to recommend. Kind of hard to make a recommendation because you don't know what certain people's criteria are. Some people, their criteria might be, give me the lightest weight bike. And then if I recommend a bike that's like 70 pounds, well, that's not going to fit, right? Sometimes it's price oriented, so that might not fit. Some of the recommendations might be too expensive. So I always say this is if you bought a bike, you're happy with it, it seems to function the way you want it to be, who cares what everyone else thinks? Yeah, so yeah, good for you. If 500 or 600 fits what your budget is and it does what you need it to do, it's a good bike, okay? All right, next one. Ernest Lasso. Sorry again if I mispronounce people's names. I charged my batteries up to 80%, getting ready for some good riding. Unfortunately, I contracted a physical problem and have not been able to ride. Okay, will my batteries be damaged? I don't know how to use up or lower the battery charge. Is there a way to lower the charge? I cannot ride the bikes for at least another month or two. Thanks for your help. Love your videos. Well, thank you very much. I don't think you'll be hurting your batteries. If you're at 80% and you haven't touched it, I think you're fine. Yeah, what I usually do is I will charge up to the 100% and then ride down to about 70% level for the winter months. Now, I have read where they have said that you should actually charge your batteries every month and a half, something like that, even if you're not riding it, and then try to bring it back down again. But the question is valid. How do you bring that bike down if you can't ride it? Okay. Now, some people have lifted up the rear end of the bike. I don't know how they do it. They either make some type of jig or something to kind of lift the rear of the tire, and then they'll just throttle the thing. Now, it's going to be a long time throttling, okay, because it doesn't use up the same amount of energy as if you were riding that bike. And the reason is because your weight isn't on it. So the motor's not working as hard. So you could be throttling a long time just to drop 10%, right? But that is one way to do it. And of course, it racks up mileage on your bike because your speedometer is or your odometer is going to register it. So if you don't mind about the bike's mileage going up, that is one way to do it, is somehow do something that you can rig up to lift the rear end and then throttle. Or even better than that, get one of those things where you can ride it inside, right? It's like those trainers that you put a bike on the rear of the bike up, and then you can just pedal it. That'll get you some exercise too. But I don't know of too many devices that work with e-bikes, because e-bikes are kind of heavy. You may have to search that, but that's how I would do it. Okay, but right now you're at 80%. I think you're okay. All right, next one. Keylock, he says, or she says, thanks, Russ. My question is, can you please give me the exact part number you use for the adjustable handlebar extension you used on your Magicycle Cruiser? Also, how is it working out for you in dependability? Several cruises here we are customizing for customers. Okay, it sounds like they're selling Magicycle Cruisers, possibly. And so they want to know what I did for my handlebar extension. Now, the handlebar extender is the stem extender. It's an adjustable handlebar device. I believe that's what he's talking about. I didn't do it on the Cruiser. I actually did it on the Magicycle commuter bike. I also did it on the Himiway Zebra bike, and I used the same device. I also did one to the KBO Ranger, which is the cargo bike I have. KBO actually supplied that particular stem for me. The other two I bought on Amazon, and if you go to the video that I have, actually maybe on most of the recent videos even, but if not, go specifically to the video I did on the Magicycle Cruiser bikes. You'll see in the description of my video the Amazon link. That's the affiliate link I have to the actual one that I use. Now that's sized specifically for the Magicycle commuter bike. It may not fit all bikes. You have to measure the diameter of where your handlebar actually fits, and then you have to measure the diameter of the stem going into the bike. So there's two measurements you have to take. The one that I put on the recommendation on the description fits the Magicycle commuter bike, also fits the Himiway Zebra bike, have the same one. And like I said, I was supplied an adjustable one from KBO. So they've been working real good for me. I'm actually really happy with them, and I bought the least expensive one I could find on Amazon. Okay, and so look for those videos, and then you'll find a link in the description. In fact, anything that I usually use, if you're looking for what am I using, it's probably in the description of all my videos, because I always put the same description stuff in there. So, all right, I can see that I'm running out of my time for this camera, so I'm going to shut down for a second, come right back. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. All right. Yeah, I have to stop the camera every 17, 18 minutes or so, because otherwise it'll automatically shut down by itself. All right, what's the next one we have? Oh, and anyways, for the part number, like I said, if you go to the link that's in the description of that video, it'll bring you straight to the Amazon site, and it'll tell you actually what part I actually used. Okay. Thanks for your question. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right or not. La Plante Michelle, is that correct? I always get a comment there, but I'm always, a lot of times, even for guys that always respond to the questions or to the comment section, sometimes I can't always pronounce your names, but I recognize the names right away, so thank you. I know that you never tried a mid-drive. Is there a company you deal with that have a mid-drive that you could try out? I really would like to know what you think about those e-bikes. Let me think. Area 13 has mid-drive bikes, but again, his is a unique situation where the bike was given to me. It wasn't actually something that I would consider, I guess, like your typical manufacturer who has, asked me to review the bike. He just gave me a bike, right? Area 13 gave me the Blackbird bike of his, which I like a lot, by the way. He does have mid-drive bikes, but again, they're very expensive. I would not expect him to give me a free bike for that. Let's see. Himiway has a mid-drive bike, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think they have one mid-drive, but again, very expensive bike. Most of the bikes that have been given to me have been, I would say, $2,500 and under, and many of the mid-drive bikes would be higher. So yeah, there are a couple of companies that do have it. Will they give it to me? That is up to them. I don't usually ask them for specific bikes or whatever they're promoting at the time, and they want you to do a review on it. So hopefully maybe one day one of the companies can give me a mid-drive bike, because I would like to try one and give you guys my opinion. But to date, I haven't tried one. So I think they may be the only. I'm racking my brain here, looking around too. Yeah, they may be the only ones that have mid-drive bikes that I could maybe try. There's other companies in the future that might come on board, and in which case maybe they might give me a mid-drive bike. I don't know. So we'll see. Shelly B, she says, when you go out on a bike ride, do you ever do geocaching? That's a good question. Before I got my first e-bike, I seriously thought about this, because I have a friend who does geocaching. If you don't know what geocaching is, look it up on Google. Basically, these are things that are hidden in different locations, and then you get the geocaching type app, and it'll give you little clues on where to look. And then you go there, and then you find the item, and then I don't know, I think you sign a book and say, hey, it's like, hey, Russ is here, and you put the item back for the next guy, and then you move on to the next thing that you can look for. So it's like a hide and seek type of thing. They hide something for you, and then they give you clues, and then you go and you find it. Okay. Now, let me tell you about this geocaching thing. Here's what stopped me from doing geocaching, because I really did seriously think that would be kind of fun to do with an e-bike, right? It's the former law enforcement in me. I remember when I was going through training to be an evidence technician, they always told me, be very careful what you pick up or anything like that. Things could be laced with drugs and all sorts of stuff. You don't want to get stuck by needles or anything like that. And some items that you can pick up could be laced with I don't know, type of drugs that goes right through your skin and all that, and it could be a problem. So I thought about this geocaching thing. I go, I don't know who puts what where, and I don't know how safe it is. And then another thing too is some of these places that they put things, to get to there, I might have to take some streets I don't really want to ride on. So ultimately, I ended up deciding, yeah, I'm not going to do this geocaching thing. Although conceptually, it's a cool thing. So that's the answer for it. No, I've never done it. I thought about it, but again, it's just in my brain from things I was taught when I was in law enforcement to be careful of this and that I don't do it. So if you do it, let me know how it's turned out for you. Joe Rossillo, he's also a commenter. He says, great job, Russ. Well, thank you very much. Not a question, but hey, I appreciate it. All right, next one I have here is Sean Hall. And Sean says, let me hit the button here. It says, hi, Russ. I'm about to build my first e-bike and have decided to go with a mid-drive motor. I have a steel Trek 800 frame. I live here in Colorado. One day, I would like to maybe live a little bit in Colorado. I've driven past it. I've gone there to visit, but yeah, don't live there. And plan to use the bike to do some camping trips in the mountains. That'd be nice. What mid-drive would you recommend for this? Thank you. And there's some responses from some other people here. Yeah, they mentioned, Russ has never really had a mid-drive e-bike. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, I have never had a mid-drive e-bike, so I can't really make a recommendation. Although from what I've heard from many people, there's several companies that have mid-drive motors. Probably the most famous motors would probably be Bafang, right? Bafang is probably the most common of the quality motors, whether it's a hub motor or a mid-drive motor. But Bafang makes them. Some of the pre-made bikes have really cool motors too. I can't recall the names of some of the motors at this point, but yeah, I think if I had a mid-drive bike, I would know more about mid-drive stuff. But because nobody's ever given me one, and I'm too cheap to buy one, I can't recommend one for you. Maybe some guys can go on to that video and make recommendations for you to help Sean out. He's trying to look for a next specific motor to put on a specific bike. So yeah, can't help you on that one. I'm sorry. All right, next one, Forrest Platt. We watch your channel, but what YouTube channels, particularly e-bike related, do you watch regularly? Good question. Okay, here, let me open up another instance here on my browser And let me go to my subscription things. Let me read off some of the subscription things that I have here. Let's see, subscriptions. And most of these e-bike channels, of course, are all called something e-bike, right? All right, hold on here. YouTube is opening up here. Okay. So here's some of the stuff that I watch. I mentioned recently, and what started this whole thing too, as I watched Citizen Cycle. I started watching Citizen Cycle, I think, before I bought an e-bike, and I thought it was kind of cool. They kept modifying his bikes, and they got better and better and better. And then all these bikes started coming to him for reviews and everything. And I was like, wow, it'd be kind of interesting if one day I had that many bikes. And we're getting there. So yeah, Citizen Cycle is one that I watch. Let me see here. E-Bike Escape, E-Bike Builder, E-Bike Products. I'm just reading some things off here. The monitor's a little far from me, so that's why I'm straining to see it. ebikeschool.com, electrek.co. These are some review companies and stuff. Electric Bike Report, Electric Rides, Electric Bike Review. I'm sure there's others here. And then I watch you guys too. Some of our subscribers are actually Russ's Right subscribers as well. And I watch their channels like Rip One Outdoors. That's RIP number 1 Outdoors. So all one word, Rip with a numeral 1, Rip One Outdoors. He's out in Mississippi. RV Enthusiast, I watch him. He's a Magicycle guy too. And, there's several of you guys. Richard Kearney, I watch. So there's a number of them. E-Bike Builder is one of our subscribers. There's a couple more, too. But too many here. I have so many subscriptions to e-bike channels and others. But what I usually do is I look at all, and of course the manufacturers, Magicycle's site, Rad Power Bikes, all these manufacturer stuff and review sites. I typically watch. Not just because I like watching them, is because I have to keep up with what everyone is talking about on e-bikes, right? So it's kind of, some of it is for me to enjoy, and others are for me to just keep up with what's happening in the industry. So yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, if you just go and you just search e-bike, on YouTube, there'll be a whole bunch of them that pop up. You'll probably see a bunch of Russ's Rights, and the reason is because if you watch something on YouTube, it'll just keep recommending more stuff to you that are similar to things that you're familiar with or like to watch. So you probably see a lot of Russ's Right stuff show up because you watch Russ's Right. Okay. But, and I have a lot of videos, quite frankly. I think we're coming up to, I don't know, almost 900 videos now. Now, not all of it is e-bike related, as you know, because it started out as a knee replacement channel. And then there's some other topics that I talked about. There's some food review things. There's music stuff on there, a little of everything. But the vast majority of my videos are either e-bike related or knee replacement related, because I had a knee replacement done. Okay, so yeah, just do a search on YouTube. You'll find a whole bunch of e-bike channels. But those are the kind of things I watch. I usually watch the review sites, and then some of you guys. I watch you guys too. So, all right. So let me get back to our questions here. Let me move back to this. Okay. Bruce G. Hi, Russ. I've had an error 9 on my e-bike show up at odd times, then come right. Now it's permanent. Okay. And I've had to order a new controller. For reference, the bike is GB750 Geen bike, 20-inch folding. I haven't seen any videos with error code subject. I've never had an error code ever show up on any of my bikes. I guess I've been pretty lucky, but I have heard of people having certain specific error codes. And I don't know whether the error codes are the same from bike to bike. Okay, some of the error codes could be different, I think. So I can't really advise on this because I've never had it happen to me, but I have heard people who've had those type of issues. And it usually is something with the controller or something that, or the display screen or something that has to be changed or fixed in order for it to happen. So sorry you had a problem. Hopefully you were able to fix it. All right, let's move on. Street Level Critic says, since you keep your e-bikes in your house, how do you keep the tires from bringing in dirt or marking your floors. I live in New York City, and my wife and I keep bikes in our apartment. Yeah, well, we have hardwood floors. We don't actually have carpeting all over. We have some throw rug type things, but the traffic area that we're at, when we come in, is all hardwood floor. And yeah, I don't do much. First off, I try to make sure I don't roll over things I shouldn't be rolling over. Right? If I see goose poop, which we have a lot of here in Chicago, because the Canadian geese are a problem for us here, I try my best to avoid the goose poop and whatever else that might be a mess. Okay. Short of that, if I do happen to run over something, then I'll usually try to hose it down or wipe it down or something like that before I bring it into the house. But other than that, I don't do anything special. I just roll my tires in because it's it's not carpet. Carpet would make it tougher. I think you would have major problems. So yeah, we have hardwood floors in the downstairs of our house, and so you can see it too in some of the videos that I make. You can see, I'll have a bike up against the one of our doors, and then you'll see on the floor it's hardwood. So yeah, I don't do anything special other than making sure that there's stuff that I haven't tracked over. So okay, thanks for your question. Tom2639, have you had any issues with water damage? Do you ever ride in wet conditions, or do you avoid all water at all costs? I have ridden before in the past where there has been water on the bike path. I try my, if it's been raining, I try my best not to go out. But usually the day after, I'll go out, and there's puddles. You can't avoid it, and you go through it. A lot of times I find by the time I get home, because the wheels have been moving so much, it's dried off already. But there's always some splatter that happens. Even though you have fenders, it'll splatter up the underneath side of your down tube, or directly underneath where your pedals are in that area. I'll usually just wipe that down. I'll just take a rag and wipe it down. So I don't like that stuff drying up on the bike. So immediately by the time I get home, I start wiping things down. So other than that, I usually try to avoid it. Now, as far as like if it's raining and you're riding your bike, what I would do is try to protect the display screen, okay? Because I don't know how waterproof those things are. I'm looking at the bikes on the side here. I would bring along something like a baggie, maybe like a sandwich sized baggie, like a zip lock bag or something, and then bring some rubber bands and put the baggie over the display screen. When you're riding in the rain, because you want to protect that. Now, as far as the battery, there's not much I can do about the battery. The batteries are large, so if they get wet, there's not much I can do about it. But if you happen to ride through the rain, I would take all that stuff off and wipe everything down. Yeah. I might even consider taking like compressed air or something and blow out the areas of contacts, just to make sure that there's no stuff stuck in there. That's you don't want anything to corrode or anything like that. So, but yeah, I try to avoid any type of water type things. Okay. Thanks for your question. Next one we have is the ride with Lance. Hi, Russ. I am new to e-bike vlogging, but not new to creating YouTube videos. But this is a different format from how I am used to creating videos. So my question is, are you using a GoPro on a chest mount with a lav mic or a different setup? Yes. Yes, I'm using a GoPro with the chest mount on my chest with a lavalier microphone attached to the helmet of my the brim of my helmet. I usually have I have the Exnito helmet, and it has like a little visor, okay? And I usually have that microphone attached right dead center of my forehead. So I usually see that microphone hanging out in between my vision, okay? So I have a couple videos that were done specifically talking about how I use my equipment and what equipments that I use to do it. If I remember, I'll try to go back and put a link for you on your question so you can find those videos. But you could might be able to do a search for Russ's Right equipment or Russ's Right camera, something like that on YouTube. It might actually pop up the video right away for you. Or the alternative is go directly to the Russ's Right main page from YouTube and then just scroll down. I did those reviews this past year, so it would have been 2022 video, one of the 2022 videos, where I talked a little bit about the camera, the audio stuff, the editing, all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, to answer your question quickly, I do use an external digital audio recorder. I do use a GoPro camera. I sync all that stuff up in Final Cut Pro, which is Apple's editing software, and then you end up with a video. So, okay, I see that my time is running out again. Okay, here's what I'm going to do before that thing runs out. I'm going to do one more time until the thing runs out, and then whatever's left over, we'll leave that for another day. Okay, so because I know that this is going to be a pretty long video already, but we got a lot of questions. I don't want to drag it over several days, so we're going to make this a relatively long video, and then we'll do another relatively long video. So let me turn off the camera, and I'll turn it back on. Sit tight. All right, I'm back. Oh, it always looks seamless to you, but it takes me some time to turn on and turn off. Okay. All right. So next question is from Donald Tanner. By the way, I'm having a lot of fun answering these questions. In fact, I actually prefer doing this than typing because I can answer better and quicker, I think, on the long run than typing things. So my typing takes a while to answer everything. I'd rather do it this way. If you guys like this format, put a comment in this video that you like the video like this, and then we can continue doing more of these question and answer things in the future. Okay, so all right, Donald Tanner, he says, have you have any of your bikes pedal assist dropped to 0 while riding? I have an Aventon Pace 500, and sometimes the pedal assist goes to 0 by itself while riding. Yes, I have experienced this before. I can't remember which bike did it. I can't remember which bike did it. It happened on that bike like twice. And I was wondering why did this thing drop? So yeah, it has happened. I don't know why. It happened early on when I first got the bike, and then it never happened ever again. So yeah, one of the bikes did do that. Yeah, I don't know why that happens. It could be a controller issue. I'm not sure. But yeah, it has happened. Don't know. Hasn't happened since, but it had happened. Okay. You're not alone. Okay. Steve Emery Hansen. Hello, Russ. Another great video post. Totally enjoy your channel. Well, thank you very much. Not a question, but yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Doug Wood. Got the Magicycle Cruiser Pro. Which would you prefer? Putting in tire sealant like slime or others, or carrying a tube with tools to change on the trail when necessary? Yes and yes. I do both. Well, actually, no. The only tires that have slime in them right now, from me, is the original Rad Rover 5. That was the first bike I ever had. And then I put some... I think I put some in the KBO Breeze, the commuter bike. And that's it. I don't think I've put slime in any other tire. All right, and I haven't put any other stuff in any other tire either. And let me answer this: have I ever had a flat? No. For the almost 5,000 miles I've ridden, I have not had a single flat. But people have mentioned to me that I should either put Flat Out or what's the other brand? Armadillos. Instead of slime, because there are better products out there, they say. And no, the only time that the tire ever blew up on me is after I put in the slime. Yeah, so what happens is, you have to deflate the tire, then you pump in the slime, then you pump up back the tire. Well, I didn't know then, which I know now, that because the tire was deflated, and then I put in the slime, well, when I pumped it up real quickly, essentially it created a pinch flat, and it blew up. Yeah, that inner tube blew up on me. And so I've only had that happen because of slime, which is kind of weird because, you put that stuff so that you don't have a flat. Well, that created the flat, essentially. So I've never put any more of that stuff in. I don't have Armadillos. I don't have Flat Out or anything in any of my tires except for that one, those two. And the KBO Breeze was sold to a friend of mine, so he has the bike. But for me personally, what's currently in my inventory of bikes, the Rad Rover 5 still has slime in there. Okay. As far as curing inner tubes, yeah, I do that too. I was carrying a spare inner tube. I mean, because even if you have that in there, what if it doesn't seal? And then you have no way of fixing the flat. So I carry tire patches, okay, for flats, and I also carry inner tubes. So a lot of times in my bag that I have all my tools with me. I carry tools, I carry inner tubes, I carry air pumps, everything, So yeah, look in the description of all my videos. You'll see all the stuff that I carry. It's stuff is in there. Okay, thanks for your question. All right, let's see. Okay. E1 Borakua? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I just ordered my first e-bike. My one concern I have is about personal safety. Have you ever thought about catching someone trying to steal your bike? What would you do? How about being bike jacked? I saw in one of your other videos that you carry pepper spray. Is this why? I was thinking about doing the same. Have you had any issues with this? Thank you. Yeah. Okay, well, first off, you have to remember, too, I come from a former law enforcement background. So I was a former evidence technician. I wasn't a police officer or anything like that, but I was a lab guy. So I was a crime lab guy, okay? So forensically, I do a lot of forensic work and things. And I did that privately, too, after I left the DA's office and left the law enforcement. So I continued doing that for quite a while. So for me, I'm always crime conscious. I'm always looking around. I don't trust anything. So I tend to carry pepper spray with me for my rides. I have it on my Rad Rover 5, but I don't have it on any of the other bikes. But it's the Rad Rover 5 I take when I take a long ride, typically, because it has the longest range, because I have 2 triangle batteries in there, 52 volt, 20 amp hour batteries on there. So I usually take that bike out for the long rides, and so that bike has pepper spray on there. It's not a real problem for us here. We're allowed to carry pepper spray here in the Illinois area. But some areas you might not be allowed to do that. So you need to check your local laws to see if you're allowed to carry that or not. Some people have mentioned that they carry weapons. I'm talking like firearms. I wouldn't recommend doing that, quite frankly. Even if you have open carry, you should check your own personal laws on that. I'm not going to go deep into this because I know it's controversial type of comments and questions here, but I'm just saying that for me personally, I would not carry a weapon. I don't own a gun myself, and so even if I did, I probably wouldn't carry one with me. It's just my personal decision. But I feel at least pepper spray would be something I have a little bit better than nothing. But again, stuff like this could be used against you too. You have to remember that. And if you spray pepper spray into the wind, you know where that's heading? Right back to you. Okay, so you got to be real careful. As far as, catching someone stealing my bike, what would I do? I'd let them have the bike. Yeah, I'm not going to fight them. Yeah, it's not worth it, quite frankly. Well, for me, I guess it's a little different story than for you guys. I have several bikes. If someone stole a bike I was on, I'm not going to risk my life to defend that. I do have a whole bunch of other bikes I can use. Okay, I would let law enforcement deal with it at that point. So bike jackings, yeah, same thing. You come up to me and point a gun at me and say, "Give me your bike." You're going to get my bike. Probably get my wallet and everything else too. Okay, no, I don't fight that. No, it's not worth your life. So. Just me. Okay, you guys think about how you would do it, but that's just me. All right, thanks for your question. David Dabbs, do you prefer the 26-inch Magicycle Pro or the Ocelot Pro 20-inch for everyday riding? I prefer the 26-inch Magicycle Pro. Yeah, I have all of the Magicycle bikes, okay? So, in general, I prefer 26-inch tires over the 20-inch tires. I feel it just rolls over things better for me. It feels less bumpy in that sense than the 20-inch tires to me. Okay, and I'm a big guy, so if you look at my physical size, I look better on a 20-inch wheel tire than I do on a 26-inch wheel tire than on a 20-inch wheel tire. Okay, so the Ocelot Pro I don't ride as much as I do the Cruiser. And not that I don't ride the Ocelot Pro, because I do. My wife is currently taking that as her bike. So if we ride together, she'll be on the Ocelot Pro Typically at this point, I'll usually be on the well, I'm on everything. But she's usually the one that rides it. And if she's not riding, then I will take the Ocelot Pro. I can ride on that myself too. But my preference is typically 26-inch tires. Just me, okay? All right, thank you for that. Reginald Albright. Hi, Russ. Do you charge your batteries indoors or outdoors? I charge mine indoors. Although I have thought in the past it would be nice to put the battery inside the grill, inside my gas grill, close the cover and charge it. Because we've all heard about battery fires and everything. But no, I do charge it indoors, which is probably not the best thing to do. But it gets hot outside and everything, and so I do it indoors. I'm usually careful with it. I keep an eye on it all the time. It's not that, if the fire started, what can I do? I mean, you really can't put out these fires. People say, oh, just, use a fire extinguisher. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't. Once one battery goes, the next cell goes, then the next cell goes. And have you seen the fires on these things? They just shoot out like crazy. So what I usually do is I don't put the battery anywhere close to a wall. If I'm indoors and I usually put it on the island, in the kitchen. The island, it's kind of by itself. So if it's going to blow up, it has nothing else it's going to shoot and hit. There's no walls next to it. And if it's in the garage, I put the bike in the middle of the garage, and then I charge it up there. So, and I charge it both on the bike, and I also charge it with the batteries off the bike. So it depends on the bike. All right, thanks for your question. Next one. Okay, now I know that this person comments a lot, and I always wondered what the proper pronunciation of it is. Nieman your wingy. Nieman your wingy? Sorry. I could never pronounce it properly. Yeah, let me see what he says here. Oh, no, he's responding to somebody. Oh, no, okay, here's his question. I've got to roll through all this stuff. Have you noticed any reduction in range on bikes you have a lot of miles on? I only have around 700 miles on the Engwe so far in a year of ownership, and haven't had to do anything but lube the chain and replace brake pads once so far. But I'm curious what your experience is with battery life since you have bikes with thousands of miles. I think the only bike that has thousands of miles is the Rad Rover 5, because that was the one that I had originally, and I rode the entire season 2021 on that one bike, and it had 2,600 miles when I finally finished up that season on the first year. All the other bikes don't have that many miles on them because I've had so many bikes. It's kind of like take one bike, use the other bike, use another bike, use another bike, so it spreads out over several bikes. So the only one that has had a lot of mileage per se is that Rad Rover 5. Okay, so as far as reduction in the battery range, hard to say on that one too, because I changed out the original battery to the 52 volt 20 amp hour batteries. And I haven't really seen okay, I would say maybe it may have dropped a little bit in overall range, that triangle battery, because I of course still use that on the Rad Rover, and then I have a second triangle battery which I kind of jump from bike to bike. So yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I don't think you get the full range forever, but I can't really say because I never really measured it. So anyways, that's my answer. I really don't know, but I think so. I think there is a little bit of loss maybe on that one. All right, how are we doing for time? I'm looking at the counter. Okay, I've got about maybe 4 more minutes, so I can take a couple more here first. Paulette Monroe says, hey, Russ, do you have any advice regarding upgrading my e-bike to hydraulic brakes this spring? Thanks. Yeah, take a look at a video that RV Enthusiast made on how he changed his mechanical brakes to hydraulic brakes. That's what I used to help guide me when I did it. So you can look on the Russ's Right channel and you'll see, just look up Russ's Right hydraulic brakes, something like that on YouTube, and search in YouTube. You might find my video, and then look at the RV Enthusiast, and maybe look up under RV Enthusiast hydraulic brakes or something like that, where he actually changed his Magicycle I think he used the Magicycle. I don't know what, maybe he wasn't a Magicycle. I don't know, but he changed out his brakes to hydraulic brakes too. So I kind of followed him and doing it, and it worked out perfectly. So I think the hardest thing was running the line through the bike. So what we did is we duct taped it. Okay, duct taped the end of one cable to the beginning of the other cable and pulled it through. But you gotta be careful that you don't break it halfway in between, because then you're out of luck. So yeah, tape it really good, but can't be too thick, otherwise you can't pull it through the frame. So, but that's how I did it, and it's not that difficult to do. But I have a video on it, and so does RV Enthusiast. Okay, check that. Thank you for your question. Joseph Mitchell, which do you like best, torque sensors or speed sensors? I think he means torque sensors or cadence sensors. Okay, if you could only have one bike, which sensor would you want? Okay, I do have a bike that has a torque sensor. The Area 13 Blackbird has a torque sensor on it. The Me bike that I had a torque sensor on it as well. Hard to do it with the Me bike because I couldn't do full rotations because the saddle was not adjustable. It's kind of like the moped style bikes, which I've basically said I will never get another moped style bike because I can't fit on them. They're too low to the ground. I can't do a full rotation pedal. So even though that had a torque sensor, I couldn't really tell on it because I couldn't really ride it as a riding bike. But I can ride it on the Area 13 bike, and I can feel the torque sensor affecting how fast I go based on how hard I work. Now, I have a replaced knee, and so I can't pedal like the typical person can pedal. So putting hard pressure and the like is hard for me to do. But torque sensors, you can definitely feel that workout on there, because if you put more effort into push, you get more speed, okay? And if you put less effort, you get less. So here's my comments, and we'll call it a day for this video. I like the cadence sensor in the sense of you don't have to put a lot of effort and you get a lot of output, all right? Because all you have to do is keep your legs moving and you're gonna get the speed, all right? On the other hand, if you wanna ride your bike like a real bike, torque sensor, okay? You put the effort, you get more speed. You put less effort, you get less speed. It feels more like a real bike when you're riding with a torque sensor. So my preference between the two, if I feel lazy that day, I want a cadence sensor. If I feel like some exercise that day, I want the torque sensor. All right, we're gonna call it a day for this video. I'm gonna continue on, and I'm gonna do part 2, which I'll upload for another day. But hey, I appreciate you guys watching this. I really enjoy doing these question and answer things. If you like this format, okay, put a comment below and let me know you like it and that you want more of this. If you do, we'll do more. Now, I will say this, less people watched the video when I asked for the questions, but we do have a lot of questions from those who did watch it. So maybe it'll eventually catch on. So watch the next one that we do for the question and answers, because I'm going to continue on and try to answer the rest of the questions. All right? Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I'll talk to you guys next time.